Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about technology and our time and our attention. To a degree, I believe that technology has gone a bit too far. At least the way that we engage with it, it's kind of become enmeshed in all parts of our lives. I mean, it's getting worse. There's people who want to have it enmeshed in their bodies, get chips implanted in their hands so they can tap their hand instead of their phone. We're always looking for more convenience and simpler ways to do things, but really we're just getting more complicated and we're getting inundated and buried in information and our attentions are constantly for sale. So I have felt this way for a long time and it's bothered me to quite a degree. I mean, here I am sitting in front of a camera talking to you guys, so I'm not completely a hermit or anything like that, but I wanted to share with you guys a few ways that I've been trying to distance myself a little bit from technology and regain a little bit of my sanity. Starting with number one, I've been using these dumb phones and dumb devices, basically. So this is a Punkt MP02. It is a kind of high-end dumb phone. I did not pay full price for this. It's quite expensive. I got it for half price, used from somebody who tried this and didn't want it, didn't end up liking it. This phone is really, really simple. This thing is literally just for texting and calling, essentially. Punkt is a European company, and what they offer is security as well. They have, I think, kind of their own modified Android operating system, which is kind of security forward. There is a version of Signal Messenger on here called Pigeon, which you can use. I've heard frequently that it's down a lot, so just keep that in mind. I use it mainly for texting and calling. I often have to hop back and forth between this and my iPhone. It is not my exclusive phone at this point. I use it as much as I can to help disconnect, and ultimately I'd like it to be my main phone and my only phone, because when you really get down to it, other than maybe GPS, what is a phone for? It is for getting a hold of you, and so you can get a hold of other people. So to be able to text and call is truly all a phone should be, in my opinion, and this has been great for that. In other news, I just picked up this bad boy at the flea market yesterday, and I'm trying to get it wired up so I can use this for my calling at home. This is a rotary landline phone. It is quite old. It was $23. I paid $20. And this is just another attempt for me. I'm not walking around with my AirPods in. This is even one step farther than something like the Punkt because it keeps you fixed to a certain space. So if I want to talk on the phone with somebody and have a conversation, this has no battery, right? So I'm not going to have to worry about battery life. I can have as long as a conversation as I want, but the one restriction is you're restricted in space. I have to sit down by this phone and I have to talk on it, and I'm attached by this cord. That is all I get. And if I don't want to be there anymore, I want to go do something, I'm going to have to put the phone down and disconnect from it. So this is just another hoop I'm trying to jump through where I'm able to disconnect myself a little bit from all pervasive technology. Okay, so next is actually following a similar vein to this. I don't have a physical example for this, but the second thing that I do to help distance myself a little bit from the overreach of technology in my life is I use my laptop in a desktop mode only. So basically I picked up a used monitor on Kijiji for like 40 bucks, and it's a 1080p monitor. It's pretty good. It's 27 inches, so it's more comfortable for viewing anyway. And I hook my computer up to that. It helps that my laptop is 7 years old now, so the battery is kind of crap in the first place, but I have it permanently just hooked up at the desk, and that's the only place that I can go and use it. If I take it with me anywhere, it's likely that it's going to die, and it's something that I strive not to do anyway, because again, like the landline phone, having a desktop, something that is kind of going the way of the dodo at this point, is keeping you fixed in one place where you can sit down, and if you want to be on the computer, you're sitting there, you're on the computer. It's an intentional thing where you can sit down and you can use it when you want to use it, you can get what you need, and then you can get up and walk away. And you can't bring the computer with you to keep kind of disrupting your life and keeping you distracted further. So it's even better if you have an actual desktop. And when this thing dies, I'm going to replace it with a Mac Mini or something like that. So I am stuck. I'm stuck to my desk and I like it that way. So that's number 2. So number 3 is actually this right here. I take physical notes. I used to just write things in my phone. Occasionally I do, but for the most part, I try to write everything here in notebook. And I have various notebooks. I journal with a pen and paper. This is a fountain pen. So I use a fountain pen to even take one extra step. That's an environmental reason that I use this, because I don't want to keep throwing out pens and wasting. I just refill it with ink. But back to this. I find that it's nice to have a tactile experience of writing. It makes me a little bit more thoughtful. I journal every morning, so I find a way to, get my thoughts out on the page, and it helps me kind of clear my mind at the beginning of the day to go and live the day the way that I want to live. And yeah, I find it pretty beneficial to use something like a notepad. I honestly also have a typewriter that I use for journaling as well, another way to get me off the computer in general. That's for another video. And the final thing that I use to distance myself from technology day to day is just the behavior of monotasking or single tasking. So really all that entails is just doing an activity and that being the only activity that you're doing at the time. It seems lazy in our society for that to be the way that you're doing things, but it's actually makes you do the activity a lot better and a lot more thoroughly than if you're distracted. We are a society that worships and, holds high people who are expert multitaskers. But multitaskers are just distracted people. They just have a lot of things going on and they probably do a little bit worse at each thing. They maybe have a video on while they're working on their computer. They're not listening to the video very well and it's probably taking away their efficiency at actually working on the computer. So there's certain areas where I just try to distract myself a little less and just do the task at hand. So an example started with doing dishes. This was like a Buddhist thing that I read in a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, and he was just saying, you just do the dishes. You just pay attention to what you're doing, watch your hand as it rubs the dishes and cleans them and things like that. You're just not listening to music, you're not listening to a podcast, you're just doing the dishes. And it helps center myself and calms me down. It was a little bizarre at first, but ultimately I think I find a little bit more peace day to day doing it that way. So yeah, I hope you found this video interesting. This is just a few things that I've been trying recently to distance myself a little bit from the grip of technology in our lives. It's an uphill battle because there's a lot of stuff coming out every day with AI and new apps and just everything. These are some things that I've tried to stop distracting myself quite as much and get a little bit more out of my days, feeling a little bit better about how they're being spent. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.